I'm a small channel, so I'm well aware of the fact that few people pay attention to me. But a little over a month ago, I covered the attack on a Jewish man in Chicago that was one where the fellow came into the nation illegally, claiming to be from a nation that gaining an identification for and claiming asylum are both hilariously easy. No one is talking about it, and the liberals are claiming it is just a hate attack so they can keep it quiet. Now, we have a European-style ramming attack in New Orleans and a Cybertruck explosion in Las Vegas at the Trump Tower. Could it be that the multiple terror attacks are linked? Sidi Mohammed Abdali was able to commit suicide while he was in custody at the Cook County Jail, where he was housed at the Cermak Health Services area. Public attacks are the commonality, with the Chicago one being downplayed as it happened before the election and was done by someone who came across the porous border. Yes, elections, those reasons why the Democrats, you found out since then that they've kept a lot of things quiet. Right now, there is no definitive link to terrorism when it comes to Las Vegas, especially because of the symbolism. If it is not actual international terrorism, then it is domestic terrorism, most likely. The New Orleans attack was done by Army veteran Shamsud-Din Jabbar, but what information that has been released seems to have some links to international terrorism. A lot of interesting facts to consider. Now, down below is my Substack. In my Substack, I have a link to both the article that I did so you can research the attack in Chicago, and I have a link to my video that I made, and this was all like November 25th. That's because I hadn't really gotten that information up until then. So let's get into the three different attacks. Howdy, y'all. This is Paul, the Redneck Thinker. What we have here is a channel to communicate. I want you folks to be thinking by the time you leave my videos. Why? Because I'm tired of people talking via what other people tell them to think. So, watch my video and enjoy the chance to think for yourself. Okay, via NBC News, this is what's known so far about the New Orleans attack. U.S. Army veteran from Texas is a suspect in a bloody New Year's Day attack in New Orleans that killed at least 15 people and injured 30 more. Federal investigators identified Shamsud-Din Jabbar, 42, as the man who intentionally rammed a rented pickup truck into revelers around 3:15 a.m. Bourbon Street as people were ringing in the new year. He died in a shootout with police. Two officers were shot and were stable, officials said. Federal and local officials are working to uncover a motive behind the attack and determine whether Jabbar acted alone or had help. This is not just an act of terrorism, this is evil, Police Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick said. The carnage unfolded when Jabbar drove onto a sidewalk, bypassing a police vehicle that had been parked to block cars from pedestrians celebrating on crowded Bourbon Street, officials told reporters Wednesday afternoon. According to preliminary information, Jabbar had a black ISIS flag affixed to the hitch of the Ford F-150 Lightning truck. The car-sharing marketplace Turo said the vehicle was rented from its company. In an address to the nation, President Joe Biden said Jabbar posted videos to social media indicating he was inspired by ISIS, expressing a desire to kill. The ISIS flag was found in his vehicle, Biden added, citing information from the FBI and saying no one should jump to conclusions about the investigation. Federal officials and local law enforcement agencies in New Orleans are investigating whether Jabbar used a long gun rifle and fired it into the crowd as he ran people over, three senior law enforcement officials briefed on the investigation told the NBC News. The incident is being investigated as both a terrorist attack and a crime scene, federal and local officials said. Well, yeah, duh. The FBI, which is leading the investigation, said weapons and potential improvised explosive devices, or IEDs, were in Jabbar's car and in the French Quarter. Officials are looking into at least two IEDs that may have been planted near the attack area to determine whether these were actual explosive devices or whether they were operable. Investigators do not believe Jabbar was solely responsible for the attack and have asked for the public's assistance. Now, the Las Vegas situation. This is coming from the AP. Firework mortars and camp fuel canisters were found stuffed into the back of the Tesla Cybertruck that exploded outside President-elect Donald Trump's Las Vegas hotel early Wednesday, killing a suspect inside the vehicle and sparking an intense investigation into possible terrorism. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police and Clark County Fire Department officials said that a person died inside the futuristic looking pickup truck and 7 people nearby suffered minor injuries, thankfully. By late Wednesday afternoon, authorities were still working to get the body out of the vehicle and start processing the evidence inside. President Joe Biden was briefed on the explosion. Our number one goal is to ensure that we have proper identification of the subject involved in this incident, said Jeremy Schwartz, acting special agent in charge for the FBI's Las Vegas office. Following that, our second objective is to determine whether this was an act of terrorism or not. Police Department Sheriff Kevin McHale said authorities know who rented the truck with the Turo app in Colorado, but are not releasing the name until investigators determine if it is the same person who died. Now, let's talk about the suicide of this feller in Chicago. And this is from WGN TV. And okay, a 22-year-old man accused of shooting a Jewish man who was on his way to synagogue before exchanging gunfire with Chicago police officers and paramedics has died after he was found unresponsive in his jail's medical facility. The Cook County Sheriff's Office said Sidi Muhammad Abdali was housed at Cermak Health Services, the medical facility in the Cook County Jail, and was found unresponsive at around 3:30 p.m. Saturday after an apparent suicide by hanging. Staff members immediately rendered aid before Chicago Fire Department personnel took him to Mount Sinai Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Mind you, this particular thing happened December 1st. I hadn't reported on it yet because I was looking into some other things. So sorry about getting this to you late, but I didn't know this was going to happen on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. Okay, Abdali was being held on charges of attempted murder, aggravated discharge of a firearm, peace officer firearm, aggravated discharge of a firearm, terrorism, and hate crime. At around 9:30 a.m. on October 26, officers were sent to the 2600 block of West Barwell Avenue to investigate reports of a person shot. As officers arrived and began investigating, a suspect now identified as Abdali fired shots towards responding officers, hitting a Chicago Fire Department ambulance. Abdali then shot at officers from multiple locations. Officers eventually encountered Abdali again at 6800 block of North Washtenaw Avenue and exchanged gunfire, hitting him. He was then treated at the scene before being taken to an area hospital in critical condition, according to investigators. Further investigation revealed Abdali shot a man at 2600 block of West Barwell Avenue before encountering police officers. Authorities said the man was Jewish and was on his way to synagogue when he was shot. He survived the attack. Oh, and if you don't mind, like, subscribe, comment. And I've got a link tree down below that's got my social media. And it has my Patreon if you want to help out. Thank y'all. So, I know that the Chicago attack happened a while ago, but they didn't make an impact. The news media have been keeping it quiet because the election, because it was an attack on a Jewish man. And yes, I'll say it that way because it really was because it was an attack on a Jewish man. If you notice, so many of us say that, oh, if they don't give you the right away who the suspect is in a case, then most likely the person's not white. Well, look how long it took for them to show the Jabbar fella in New Orleans. This is a situation. We have folks, 2 attacks that were Muslim fellers in public. Third attack that was in public, but this one may have been more domestic than it was international. We don't know yet. But it's kind of interesting that it's linked to that same app, which I'm sure Turo has nothing to do with the legality and is probably trying to figure out how to fix this situation after all this occurred. But you've got three attacks that were in public. Okay. You've got at least two of them that are linked to people that are of the Islamic faith. Okay. One of them, while an American, it said that he did this because of ISIS. This other feller, Sidi Muhammad Abdali, was from Africa, from the looks of him, and his ID could be quite questionable because, as I covered in my video about his attack originally, getting an ID is laughably easy. So you've got some weird things going on. I just also covered another incident where an Egyptian feller was caught trying to take out the Israeli consulate. This was just before he was to be deported. I keep covering these things, and I know I'm a small channel and few people are going to pay attention, but let me tell you something. There's something weird going on in this country, and it wasn't going on like this before the Biden administration. Yes, I'll say that because it's simple fact of that weakness inspires these folks to go strong. So, yeah. But yeah, I'll keep you covered. I'm going to keep looking into all of this and we'll see what's going on. This has been Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. Folks, I just want to say thank you for listening. I want to thank you for taking your time. I want to hear what your comments are about what you think on this topic because your comments are what's important, not necessarily mine. I don't care if you're Republican, I don't care if you're conservative, I don't care if you're liberal, I don't care if you're Democrat. I want to hear your opinion on these topics. I want to thank you yet again for listening to my video. Like, subscribe, and all that other hoopla. This has been Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Y'all have a good day now. Bye.